So how are you today, Egil?
I'm fine. What do you reckon to the old red hat then, eh?
Oh, I love the old red hat.
Yeah.
And
Well-
hello and welcome back to the channel. Northworthy's Sagas and Stories. I am your host for today. I am Bragi, the Viking.
And I'm Egil the Viking as well. Storyteller, broadcaster, warrior, trader.
And, well, today we're going to do a video on Viking clothing.
So remember,
Click
press-
the notification bell if you're new to the channel
yeah,
and leave us your comments.
and maybe subscribe.
Yes.
That'd be nice.
So, what do you want to talk about Viking clothing then? Let's,
Let's start from the top and work our way down.
Yes.
What do you think?
indeed.
So, that's a very distinctive hat you're wearing, the style. So,
Indeed.
What would you call that hat?
That's like a burqa style hat.
Uh-huh.
It's very nice and warm on your head.
Yeah, and mine, it's very thick felt. It's actually very, very effective, and you see a lot of illustrations
Yes.
today with guys
But
wearing
there's not many
this.
people wearing or making these sorts of hats.
Yeah.
It's a conical hat.
Now, whether they're cloth or whether they're leather, I have no idea. Maybe you know, but they could let us know, couldn't they?
Well, indeed they could, but this is naturally a red wool hat made out of madder dye.
Yeah,
This is a very common dye during the period.
I'll tell you something. When I was digging in York,
Yes.
I dug up a thing and I just put blob question mark. And this was from the Iron Age.
Yes.
And a woman at York smiled. She went away and it was madder, and she dyed some wool and it worked just as effectively. It was beautiful. So now,
Do you want to go through what I'm wearing
Yeah.
for our lovely audience?
this cloak is very useful, isn't it?
It is indeed. It keeps you lovely and warm during these winter months.
Now I notice you're wearing it like mine, Frankish style,
Yes.
which is on the shoulder. You slip round a bit, all right.
You do slip
You wear it
close.
like that. It protects your sword.
Look, I got a central
Yeah.
buckle.
But it keeps your hand warm because you
Brooch.
naturally put there like that.
Yeah, you can wrap yourself in it, so that's quite nice when you're
And-
walking about.
And if you've got a girlfriend,
Yeah, and then you
Or
can flick them over
boyfriend,
your shoulders like that.
Yeah.
It ought to be a bit more trendy.
dramatic.
What I like with the cloak is I like to actually put the cloak on first and put the leather belt around it. That's a nice style. I like that style of dress.
It's keeps you warm. It's very practical. And these, now you'd probably call them a tunic. That's not the correct word.
No,
It's a skirta.
a skirta, yes.
Yeah. So we are both wearing skirts.
Got my brand new one today.
Yeah, and this is our underskirta, underskirt. Now that is very important because I don't know if you've ever worn wool, it can get a bit itchy.
It can get a bit itchy. And these are made from the linen, the underskirter.
Oh, that's the posh one.
Yes.
Now, colours are important. It denotes that we are from aristocratic,
Yes, we're wealthy Viking,
Yeah.
being that we're very highly coloured.
and you know the darker colours tend to be for higher rank. Of course, the ultimate is purple. Those for emperors.
Yeah, so
kings.
not wearing my purple coat today.
Yeah, I can't. I'm not that high in rank. You also see, and we're talking about clothing, but he's wearing a sword, so am I. This is a sign of rank. You're not going to be fighting all the time, but you've got to let people know, hey, you start, I'll finish. Now, we'll move a bit down to trousers. Now, we could both store apples for winter in our trousers.
They
couldn't
are
we?
quite baggy.
And that's for a reason. It keeps you warm. Norwegians fashion sometimes have very tight trousers, but we're in England and it gets a bit chilly in here,
It does get chilly.
and it's also a sign of wealth again. Opulence, I think, is the word.
Yes.
Now, if you notice, we're both wearing these puttees, as
Leg bindings.
or leg bindings. They are. Now, when I was a child, let's go back a bit.
Many years ago.
And I used to play football, and I'd come in with mud all over my trousers. My mum would go, get those trousers up quick, push them down. Because if you leave them, the mud forms little holes. Little holes join with other little holes, become big holes, before you know it, you've got a pair of shorts.
I didn't know that about mud.
Oh, now if you notice, hang on, I've got the wrong one. There you go. There's a bit of pink, and that's where I repair.
Oh, right, they can see that far down.
Yeah. Go on. If I fall over. But what I've done is I've got a bit of cloth, cut it, wrapped it round, and that protects the trousers. There's 13 miles of thread at least in this, and it all has to be made, dyed and everything else. These trousers have got to last. These are at least 20 years old. Thanks, Lynn, you did a great job.
Oh, yes.
Yeah. And it protects. Now we come down, people say, oh, he's wearing socks. That is quite acceptable. At Jorvik, they found a sock. It was in a form that's called Njal bending, a bit like crochet.
Yes, I really loved some Njal binded socks.
Well, my ex did make a pair.
Yes, if you're watching Virginia, please make me some.
Then we come to the shoes. Now, there we go. Now the shoes themselves normally are what's called turn shoes. And
Nearly turned over myself.
yeah, imagine walking through a football pitch after it's been raining and somebody's driven a load of cattle across and we all know where that lands. And that's the kind of surface you're walking on. Now, for modern purposes, we have a hard leather sole because pavements cause wear on shoes. In the Viking Age, you wouldn't have a hard sole because you needed to grip. They would be covered with grouse fat or any other fat.
To do that, look at my sole.
Yeah. As you can see, Bragi's got.
There's that tiny bit.
Yeah. But that would have basically, when the sole went, you take the old sole off, put a new one on. And at Jorvik, we actually found the sole of a shoe that had been repaired 3 or 4 times. The guy just thrown it out the window. But shoes, again, I think are quite common, that they don't survive very well. Here in Derby, we're lucky, we actually had some shoes but were mishandled and are now a pile of dust.
And that's another story.
Yeah, well, no names, no backfill. So this is basically what your educated Viking will wear. Now, the average Viking in his own home probably wouldn't have trousers. And if you saw a guy with trousers, you'd be a bit wary because they bring trouble.
Do they?
Yeah, they're usually warriors and things like that.
Especially the long trousers.
Yeah. But farmers, well, farmers are more interested in ploughing. They didn't have, it's an expense that they couldn't afford. You know, I mean,
I couldn't imagine not having a pair of trousers.
Yeah, well, that's what I was. If you look on the tapestries, sometimes you see them, they haven't even got shoes. Oh,
Yes.
really.
It would be bad to be poor in this period.
Yeah, trust me, it's poor in any period to be poor.
Now,
but especially so here.
let's talk about how was wool manufactured in the day.
Well, obviously you get your sheep.
Yeah, you got some sheep. We know a sheep farmer called Njal Sigmundsson.
Yeah, and then
Hello.
Hi. You clip the fleece off. They use something about shears.
Cheers.
They then take it to the river where they wash it because you've got all kinds of whatever sheep have wander around in.
Make sure it's a clean stream.
Then you have to card it, and that means you get, it looks like 2 massive combs. And you comb it out. And then once you've done that, you get a handful of the fleece and it's on a spindle well,
Yes.
which is a rod with a weight on the bottom.
Yeah, one day we'll demonstrate this.
I've actually got one. And this is actually the best kind of weather to do it. You tease it down and you spin it, and it spins around. As it falls, it pulls the thread into thread. Once you've done that, you wind it up on a frame. I don't know what it's called, I forget now. They
Remember everything.
then dye it. Now, the most common colour would have been a yellowy mustard colour. That's right, very
Yes.
similar to yours. And how do they get that? Well, you get a copper bowl full of water and you put onion skins on it.
Onion.
You then drop the skein of wool in it, swish it around. The copper acts as what's called a mordant. That's what holds the dye.
Oh,
in.
right.
So when you wash it, you don't end up with no dye in your clothes. The longer you leave it, the darker it gets, and this has been left quite a while. Exact times, no, I have no
This is a
idea.
herringbone pattern of material.
Again, a Viking style herringbone.
Yes.
The only cloth that we found in York was black herringbone, and it looked like it come out yesterday. But so those are the basics. Now, this man has got a lot of blue, and in fact they did use indigo. They traded it and came all the way, as the name suggests, from India, and that would be very, very expensive. Now, woad.
Yeah, oh yes.
Now, woad, if you just use it normally, you get green.
Yes.
However, if you urinate in it, which actually raises the pH level, that's when you get this fantastic blue. It's also an antiseptic.
Oh, right.
So, hence the Celts painted themselves with it, and that's how they survived. But, again, you've got that. Then we have possibly madder here, look. An ancient dye, used again.
And this is a cloak which is made out of two bits of material and put together, and it's basically fastened together with a hem on the outside.
Yeah, and the old famous blanket stitch.
Yeah.
Now, how they got used indigo, how they used madder, I don't know. But if you know, let us know.
Oh yes,
Because
read your comments.
they would have used vegetable dyes and things like that. But the point is, with vegetable dyes, or any dye, you have to have a mordant that holds it into the fire. But the thing, we were talking about this earlier actually, the thing, they talk about the Dark Ages. The Norse, Saxons were very colourful. They like colour like anyone
Indeed.
else.
Who doesn't like colour?
Yeah.
Colour makes you stand out.
Yeah. And if you saw this man in a Viking village, you'd doff your hat to him. You'd make sure you didn't upset him.
Oh yeah.
It can make your life very unhappy or even ending. So that's that.
Yeah. Let's talk about where we get the clothing from.
That's a good idea, because you can't just nip down to.
You can't just nip down to
Ross.
Next or your local shop or your mall to go and buy a Viking tunic, as you may call it.
Well,
Or skirter.
a lot of it, of course, today is skillful people make doing and mending. Now, if I may for a moment, this is a very nice cloak.
Oh yes, I like that cloak.
Not bad for a Confederate blanket.
It is a Confederate blanket.
There you go. My man here, he sometimes does American Civil War.
I started out reenacting that
Yeah.
period. And I got lots of blankets from that period, so I thought it'd be quite nice to just do a nice grey cloak and a smaller cloak, because often cloaks are quite big, and a big cloak are hard to manage, especially when they're dragged on the floor.
Yeah, I've got mine like that.
To me, not only did I get a pair of cloaks out of that, I got a cloak, I made a hat out of it, and I also made a pair of leg bindings.
Wow.
So it just shows you, from one blanket I got 3 bits of kit.
And also, it's a skill that you pick up. I mean, I learned embroidery, believe it or not.
Yes, you have to do some.
Yeah, I haven't done any for years.
I'm thinking about that.
But again, Bragi it's very handy with a needle, sewing machine, and if you want
Don't have
the
sewing
clothes-
machines in this period.
No, but I mean,
I
we're talking
have,
about today.
I have basically taught myself 19th century tailoring. So if you could manufacture a very heavily complicated jacket from the American Civil War, then these clothes are very, very simple. What surprised me about Viking and Dark Age clothing is the pattern. The patterns are so simple.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't need a pattern. I can just do it from memory. And that's one of the beautiful things about this period, is that they're not complicated patterns, and the clothing are not complicated to make. You just need the right material and the patience to do it and to sew.
Some things you notice, like people have got amazing skills. My ex-girlfriend, she used to do tablet reading,
Yes, I have a go myself.
and I can't do it to save my life. But it's a series of strings on a
I've never
plank,
tried.
and she would turn them in a certain sequence.
Yes.
Put the warp across, do it again, a different sequence.
It's not cheap, you know. You can spend £10 to £15 a metre on good tablet weave,
Oh yeah.
and that's even before you're getting into silk and gold thread. So,
But as I say, skills like that are worth cultivating. She taught herself Njal bending,
yes,
which isn't as difficult as you might think. It's a bit like making a fish net.
yeah. It's just a matter of using your fingers a lot.
Well, I actually made her a Njal bending pin to do it with.
Yes.
It's a round point on it. It was about yay long.
That's something we'll talk about and have a go in the future on the channel.
Yeah. But, So yeah, you know, I mean, even today, you know, finding blankets is not as easy as you think.
No, I've been looking for some nice blankets myself in charity shops, and a lot of the time they're just too modern.
Yeah.
You know, wood is very hard to get these days.
So it's
I'm surprised by that. No, fur's a lot easier because you can often go to a charity shop and buy yourself a fur jacket for £3 to £5, $8 to $10,
Yeah.
and out of that you'll make yourself a hat or you know, various other things, a nice bag. So if you look around, you can find stuff. But also you've got to think about other places like eBay. These are eBay bought recently. This is my new tunic I bought last week. It's about just over £30, and it is nicely embroidered around the top. This belongs to a nice lady.
Well,
so,
another thing about Viking clothing and adornment, accessorise.
Yes.
Now, if we look, we'll take your pin.
We've got a Hiberno Norse pin.
That means you're
Brooch.
Scottish Viking.
Yeah, went up there raiding.
Excuse me. He has a necklace. This is to show wealth. Now, glass was a semi-precious stone.
Indeed it was.
And each bead on mine and on yours is a rich man's wage for a week.
A lot of money's worth.
Oh yeah. Well, I'm a mercenary as well, but keep that between yourselves. Again, we have the Bragi, which is based on the Roman coins, early Viking. We've got a nice raven there. It's the same as the tattoos I've got. And we've got a guy on a horseback who I assume is Odin. And I have the Thor's hammer, the two ravens.
I'm not wearing no necklaces today.
I also got a bit of
Or
bling.
jewellery. I've noticed that.
I also have tattoos. Well, we don't know what the tattoos were, but we know they had them. And these are taken from...
Yes, we'll have to film that
artifacts.
video, the Egil tattoo video, in the summertime.
Yeah. Or
Nice and warm
or
for you.
inside, where it's warmer. Sick bags won't be provided. So we've got bling. And this is saying, look, I am a man of substance. I know where I am and I know where I'm going.
You notice that we're not wearing tooled leather like you can see in the Hollywood films. So, although we do have some leather jerkin, they're just very plain.
But where's your sword on your back?
I don't. Where is it? It's gone.
It's alright. It's
Oh.
his sword on the back is a red
The
rat
back sword.
Yeah. And for me,
The back sword.
For me, it's the batwing axe, the Labris.
Yes, I do have one of them. Medieval.
Yeah, but they just do my head in because they actually date from pre-Iron Age. But that's another matter. So anyway, as you can see, he's tooled up and ready to go. It's a different world. It's not a world of
We even got my nice silver buckle out today, look.
Wow.
Got a nice silver strapping on it.
Yeah, and I
I'm getting out all the bling today.
like to keep clean. Bragi made me this.
Yeah, I'm going to make you a new strap for that at some point.
Yeah.
When I get some leather thonging.
And I've also got
Yeah, I found that the other day.
spent the family fortune on that. So anyway, over to you.
Yeah, so we do hope you like this video on Viking clothing. That's what the title will be. Just a very simple video title. And if you want to see some more videos on what the Vikings used to wear and how they used to make them, please leave a comment. You know, it's certainly something to do in the future.
There's something we haven't covered, and that's women's clothes. But that's a little bit
Yes.
difficult. But
None of us are little ladies.
and also we'll come back to
Yes,
you
when
on
we
that,
get
so-
a whiff scot from the channel, a lady teller,
Yeah.
I'll have to make us some. So I don't have any
No.
female clothing for this period.
Briefly, you've seen our underskirt. Imagine this down
longer?
to the ankles with a draw cord, and then a tabard,
Yes,
and two oval brooches here with
an
beads,
apron
an apron, and a tri-lobe brooch.
and some kind of hat with pins.
Well, you could either have a wimple.
Yes, that's it.
That's not rude. Or you could have, like they found at York, is a peach-coloured silk hat, which is basically a square sewn on one side and strapped underneath.
I think at some point we'll make a video on hats alone, and I like the idea of making a video on just cloaks and how we wear cloaks, how cloaks are manufactured, what they're made from, and also how we wear them and the different ways to be worn.
Yeah.
Because a cloak does really make the outfit to me, especially in this weather.
You could use it to sleep in. You can
Indeed.
keep nice and warm in it. It's actually more practical.
I actually use my cloaks on my bed at winter.
Yeah, well, it's more practical actually than the cloak. Than a coat. There are stories of Vikings sleeping on the shield, covered around the shield boss with a cloak on.
Yeah, I can see that.
I have seen people do that. I don't recommend it because we can get a bad back in it, but
Another thing we don't talk about clothing is how comfortable they are
Yeah.
compared to modern clothes.
this is a tip I'll give anybody who wants to do reenactment. Make sure you're comfortable. Make sure you as you walk along, nothing falls off. I've had it where belts have fallen off at York.
Oh yeah, that's how we lose things and people
thing-
find them in the future.
Puttees have come off and Mark
Oh, they're always coming undone, they are.
and Thor's hammers in Mark Eaton Park. There must be a few of them there.
They say that the best thing to do with your puttees or your leg bindings is to use either a pin or a little hat brooch.
Yeah.
But even then I could still see them coming undone.
Yeah. It's just the detritus that you lose, but it's an expensive job. But
And especially when it gets cold at night like it is now, we're quite warm still.
yeah, I mean, when we first joined Regia Anglorum, we didn't have all this. I had a pair of shoes. I got some trousers. I dyed terracotta and a white.
And do you have any of that original kit?
No. It got damaged, and
I've got my original kit when I first started, so at some point I probably will
yeah.
dress in my original kit. It will be more lower class with browns, colours and bland colours.
But you've got to start small and work up.
Yeah, of course you do.
I mean, everybody seems to want to go for the male and having this, that, and the other. Well, I'm quite happy about this actually.
Yeah.
Well,
I like a variety of clothing
to
to
be
wear.
honest, there's nothing stopped me to go and dress up in purple and everything else, but it costs a lot of money, and to be honest, I'm comfortable like this.
I mean, if we could get away wearing clothes like this every day, I would do. But I think when you go down to the shop to go and get some beer,
Yeah.
you might look a bit strange walking around your local Tesco's as a Viking.
I have actually walked around Derby like this.
And then we also have the issue of that we carry knives,
Yeah,
which you have to be very careful these days, because
especially.
you will be done in public for that.
Yeah, I could see why.
Yeah.
I mean, this is actually a sharp one.
Even though it's a prop, reenactment prop.
Yeah, but I've used it on camps.
So anyway, we hope you enjoyed this video. I am going to premiere this video on a Saturday. It will be premiered around about 8 o'clock. I'm experimenting at the moment with the premieres at different times, so bear with me with that. And for now, it is the end of this video on Viking clothing
Whoa!
with both two Vikings, Bragi.
And I'm Egil.
Indeed. And please leave your comments. If you've got any questions about Viking clothing, then please leave us a comment.
Or you might like to subscribe.
If you check out our Pinterest site, we have a load of pictures on Viking clothings. Plus we have a lot of pictures on Viking patterns for clothings. If you ever wanted to make yourself a nice skirt or tunic.
Yeah. Or maybe
So-
that's a future video. Where
A
you
future
could,
video indeed.
where you could show them.
Well, yeah. What the amount of content we can do this channel is unlimited.
Yeah.
So for now, it is goodbye.
Bye.